Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is another Warcaster review. And this time we're going on to Crix, and we're going on to Denegra. So this is another faction I've never played before, but my brother Borgnine, he knows Crix very well, so I thought I'd bring him on to cover Denegra. And so, Borgnine, what are kind of the stats to start off of for Denegra?
Okay, so just reading off the card, Prime Denegra, or Warwitch Denegra, is Speed 7, Strength 5, Mat 5, Rat 4, Defense 16, Armor 14. She's got Stealth and Focus 7, 16 hitboxes, and she's got a Reach magical weapon that hits at Power plus Strength 12. Next, she's got Colossal, meaning that any enemy model that is destroyed within 12 inches of her will yield her soul. As long as she's the closest model, and in the next control phase, that soul will turn into a focus. She has Parry, which means she can ignore free strikes. That almost never comes up, unless you're losing the game. And then her weapon has a very fancy special rule called Shadow Bind, which means that if you hit a model, then they have -3 defense, and for one round when they advance, they can only change facing. Now onto her amazing spell list. First, probably the best offensive debuff in the game. Crippling Grasp, cost 3, range 8, and it's an offensive upkeep. Target model unit suffers -2 speed, strength, defense, and arm, and cannot run or make special attacks. And then she's got Ghost Walk, which is cost 3, range 6. It is not an upkeep, meaning you can apply it to multiple units in a turn. So in this, a target friendly model unit gains Ghostly for 1 turn, and models with Ghostly can advance through terrain and obstacles without penalty, and can advance through obstructions if it has enough movement to move completely past them. Additionally, an effective model is immune to free strikes. Then she's got Influence, which is just cost 1, range 10, offensive. Take control of target enemy, non-Warcaster, non-Warlock warrior model. The model immediately makes 1 normal melee attack, then Influence expires.
Have you ever used that one?
I don't think so.
No.
Then next, Parasite, which is cost 3, range 8, offensive upkeep. Target model unit suffers -3 armor, and this model gains +1 armor. Next, Scourge, cost 4, range 8, AoE 3, POW 13. All models hit by Scourge are knocked down. Note, no direct hit necessary. Note, you don't have to hit an enemy model. Alright, last spell, Venom, cost 2, spray 8, POW 10. Venom causes corrosion damage. Models hit suffer corrosion continuous effect. Lastly, Feat, the Withering. Enemy models currently in Denegra's control area suffer -2 to speed, strength, mat, rat, defense, arm, and focus, and cannot run or make special attacks. The Withering lasts for 1 round.
It's that focus one that always gets me.
Focus is great. The only 2 things that are not debuffed that are on a model's card as stats are your command and fury. Everything else goes down.
I mean, even that one, I mean, all of a sudden where you thought that your Jack was normally within your control range to allocate or re-fury or whatever, all of a sudden, nope, it's now that much shorter.
Yeah,
That's a really big deal.
Yeah, it's really great when you catch that. So not only, well, I mean, your Jack can't run anyway, but it's basically going to be doing absolutely nothing if you can catch it outside of the control area.
So what type of units do you find that you like to run with Denegra?
With Prime Denegra, she's known as the turd polisher. She can run basically anything you want. She's got Crippling Grasp and Parasite, so she can fix mat. You know, because typically Crix have crappy mats, but you know, when your opponent is -2 or 4 defense, things hit. Plus with Scourge, when things are knocked down, things hit. She can fix armor as stated. They can be down by 4 or 5 armor in a turn, so even things that typically don't hit very hard can start to hit really hard.
So do you then find yourself tending towards, say, Banes, just to make sure that you're extremely punching through the armor, or like Mechanothralls, or just like Nisp Bows, because all of a sudden they're amazing?
So I used to play with Banes all the time, but I don't think that's really necessary now. It's pretty much overkill. Especially the Thralls. Maybe Bane Knights still get in there, although Ghostwalk doesn't do anything for them. But I really like things like even Satix's Raiders, because having multiple attacks when your opponents are debuffed like crazy is really good. And then, yeah, stuff like Nis are just awesome.
Yeah.
When they can be up to effectively like +4 rat and their bows are now PAL 14 or 15, like it's just excellent. I think, and Mechanithrals too, I think the idea with her a lot of times is just to take a lot of really crappy stuff and dial it up.
Yeah. So how about using her as, say, like a Colossal drop, just because then you could go to that extreme and just wipe out those Colossals like nothing? Is it, I mean, Cricks don't normally, I guess, suffer that much against Colossals because you have the Banes, but do you find that she does that overly well? I mean, like, hey, don't even bother dropping 2 Earthbreakers against me because I'll just destroy them.
I would definitely not drop her against 2 Earthbreakers. Yeah. So she, offensively, against Colossals, she's very strong. I mean, if you can get something like Crippling Grasp on your opponent Colossal and they can't get it off, being -2, is it -2 Mat and POW? Yeah, -2. Sorry. It's just speed, strength, defense, and armor.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, when they're speed 3, for instance, most Colossals are going to go down to speed 3, and they can't run or anything. They are moving very slowly. So depending on the Colossal, that can really take them out of the game. Or, you know, alternatively, you have Feet and or Parasite to just drop their armor like crazy. So you can remove them fairly trivially. However, Denegra is our defense 16, armor 14, with only 16 boxes. So
and stealth.
With stealth, yes. But so defensively against Colossal, she's typically not very good because. Okay, so that really depends actually, because for instance, stuff like Scorn has the Extoller Soul Ward that can just hand out Eyeless Sight, and then Denegra will be annihilated by blast. Well, I guess she could be annihilated by blast damage anyway. But anything else that can see through stealth, like let's say Judicator with Rovin, for instance, she'll just die. Or yeah, also Earthbreakers. So typically any Colossal with a strong AoE can get her dead pretty easily.
You're probably casting on your focus every time too.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is she's got the poor base armor and she likes to spend her focus every turn, so the problem is that random blast can just kill her.
So what drops do you find that, or pairings you're usually trying to get with this? Was normally the target army you're trying to use Denegra against?
I find she's typically best against things that are going to be bringing just a lot of infantry, and preferably things that can't see through stealth and don't have guns. Like, for instance, I wouldn't want to play her against Signar because gun mages are going to rip her up.
Scorn, like you said.
Yeah, Scorn potentially is very bad, like if they've got the Mammoth or other shooting. Hopefully what you can do is keep the Incendiary far enough away. But yeah, if she gets lit on fire, she's screwed. Definitely doesn't want to see Legion, because their beast having Eyeless Sight or Ravagor will just one-shot her, basically. But she's great against Trolls. If they don't have... The Scorn player will typically always have like an Incendiary and or Mammoth, but if they don't, she'd be a great Scorn drop. She can be okay against Circle. I mean, a lot of her stuff is dropping speed, making things so they can't run or charge, but, you know, if Circle can be teleporting anyway, that kind of gets around it. Actually, I think she's much more of a drop against War Machine, because she's also pretty darn good against other Cricks. Retribution's gotten a lot better since I've used her with seeing through stealth, so they're kind of concerned, but typically against Mercs you can play her. They don't have her.
So she's one of the ones that comes in the starter box. Do you find that she's a good starter caster to learn?
Yes and no. Yes, because she's really good, and you you know, you can kind of just solve any problem you have, whether it's high defense, high armor, whatever. Like, you can just solve those problems, and she can be extremely powerful with that. And another reason why she's really good, but this is good and bad, is she can be very easy to kill. So, I mean, obviously having new players getting their casters killed too easily is not good, but it's also really good because it can just teach them, like, just you have to keep your casters safe. And that's a good skill. I mean, a lot of people feel like on the other side of the table, she's not a good starter caster because she's really good in stuff like Battle Box and in smaller, you know.
And then you face Lilith in the Legion starter one. Like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think she's fine to start with.
Now, you did start with Denegra and play her a whole bunch, and then you gravitated to other casters like Scar and then Gaspy 2 and so forth. Do you find that these casters are better than her or cover more matchups? Or what was the reason for that shift away from Denegra?
So that's just my personal preference. I am much more happy when I'm playing a caster that has really good defensive stats. So as you kind of alluded to there, the ones that I play most are, right now anyways, Goreshade 3 and Gaspy 2. So Gaspy 2 can be extremely difficult to kill, if not one of the hardest in the entire game. And Goreshade 3 has occultation, so he can match the stealth that she has, although it can be purified off. But he's really hard to kill, and I appreciate those casters that are really hard to kill. So
where fire isn't the end of the game.
Yeah, typically against either Gaspy or Goreshade, your fire's dice -5, not dice -2. So yeah, not as worried. But that's a personal preference thing. Denny's an extremely good caster, and I think I would still be served very well if I were to use her. Yeah.
Okay. This one probably won't apply too much because I don't think you've ever used it either. But her tier, is it worthwhile whatsoever?
I've never really looked at it.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody use her tier.
She's got a thing where if she takes a bunch of bone jacks, she can get like free bone jacks, but
because you'd think for a caster that's her thing, is that I just go and I can turd polish anything. They're like, oh well, fine, I'll use the tier because no matter what I'm forced to use, will be great.
So she can only get 2 different types of units: Bile Thralls and Mechanothralls. So that is pretty darn limiting. And I just always felt like I liked to have like the Satixis Raiders and the Nis and stuff like that. So, and that's just not possible with her tier. So I think you would not often see her tier. You might definitely see it for people that want to have fun and mess around with a bunch of bone jacks or whatever. Yeah. But it would not be very common.
Okay, sure. All right, well, otherwise, I think that's it for Denegra, unless you can think of any other kind of like more tricks of the trade. Like, I know one is actually if you run up the arc node to be just outside of melee range, no matter how, if you miss or hit, that Scourge is still going to hit and knock down.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things you can do similar to that. Yeah, like, so one of the things that's one of her strongest things is Scourge, so you're just being able to knock things down. If you just hit them, you don't even have to directly hit, so what you can do is you run your arc node 14 inches and be at just out of melee range, and then even at 2-inch range, there's no way you can miss her caster. So that's one thing you could do. Alternatively, if you can't get your arc node that close, you could do something like run a Mechanothrall to be extremely close to their caster, and then Mechanothralls are defense 12, engaged they'd be 16, but you're going to be in the back, so 14 anyway. Easy to hit. Depending. Knock your own guy down, knock their caster down, and then just proceed to eliminate with Nis or whatever from range. So, yeah.
Any other like real tricks that you've found, or it's just debuff and kill?
So one of the things you may want to do is take something like a Helldiver and just kill your own jack. You know, 16 is a really good defense, but what's even better than that is 16 plus cover. So what you can do is, you run up a Helldiver or some other similarly cheap jack and just put it to a good position, kill it yourself, and then now she's so hard to hit, she's going to be defense 20 typically, that she's really only worried about like being knocked down or things that can see through stealth. So that's a good way that people can make her more survivable.
All right. Otherwise, thanks for coming on and talking about Denegra.
You're welcome.
And that was another Warcaster review, and we'll catch you next time for another one. Bye.